Hello guys, welcome to the third video in this Python programming tutorial for beginners. And in this particular lesson, we're going to be looking at numbers and operators. And without wasting your time, let's get started. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do, you don't have to do it this way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a directory and I'm going to name it, okay, let's say Python 3 playlist. Okay, then I'm going to cd into okay, so then I'm going to open with Visual Studio Code. Okay, so here I am in Visual Studio Code. Now I'm going to create a new file and I'm going to name it numbers.py. Now you should note every Python file starts ends with the extension .py. So, but before making use of this particular um, code editor, the first thing I want you to do is under the extension search for Python. So install the Python extension, which will this one here by Microsoft, which will enable us to be able to run our code very easily. So I have it installed already. Now before that, what I'm going to do is just come here. Now I can just type in my Python and this is automatically going to bring me the Python development environment right here. So there is another way of doing it. I'm going to also open up the IDLE. So here is the Python IDLE. You see we have the same thing right here. Python, whenever you install Python, it comes bundled with it, the IDLE. So when we come to numerical types in Python, data types, we have basically three types. We have the integers, we have the float, and we have the complex. Now I'm not going to be talking about complex. I will leave that for later series, but we're going to be focusing on integer and float. So example of integer basically just means whole numbers. So if I should type 12, it's going to give me return it here for me. So this is example of an integer. And if I should use, there's a way to check a data type and I should use 12 and it shows me, yeah, the class is int, which stands for integer. But if I should do something like 12.0 and then I check the data type and then 12. Now okay, sorry, type and then 12.0. So that gave me the class of floats, but they are still number, but Python recognizes them as different data types. Now, one of the simplest things and easiest things you can learn to use Python with, which I introduce my students to, is using Python as a calculator. Now, I can do something like 2 plus 2, which will give me 4. You can do more complex calculations such as, let's say, 30 times 250. Okay, that gives us 7500. Okay, so let's do something a bit bigger. So let's say, all right, this digits, all right, then we're going to multiply it by 295. So it's going to give us the result right here, no matter how big the arithmetic operation is. So let's say we've tried for the addition, we have tried for the multiplication, let's try for the division. So let's say 200 divided by 10. Okay, that gives us 20.0. Now this is one thing you should note. is Python. Whenever you make a division, Python automatically gives you an answer as, oh, you should note that. So if we should check the data type be a float, so we can also do our subtraction, so which I'm not even going to try to pronounce, and then minus, let's say, another very large number. Okay, and that gives us our answer right here. So this right here, this arithmetic operation that we're making use of, these signs are called operators. So we have the addition, we have the multiplication, we have the division, and then we have the subtraction. Those are the basic four operators we have. We also have other ones which you might not be familiar with. We have the floor division. So let's take something like 200, and then we use a double division sign for our floor division by 10. So that gives us 20. What that does is it returns it as a whole number. So the decimal, it's going to not return it. So let us try something like, okay, we know 5 divided by 2 gives us 2.5, but what about 5, okay, divided by 2 as a floor division? That gives us 2. So it will automatically remove the decimal places and everything that follows the decimal point and only give us the whole number in front. Okay, then we also have modulus. So if I should do something like 5 and then modulus 2, now this gives us 1. That is, whenever you divide 2 in whenever you divide 5 by 2, you can only get 2 whole 2's. I don't know if you get that. You can only get 2 times in 5, and there will be a remainder of 1. So that is basically what modulus is. It is going to give you the remainder in a particular division. So let's say I have 10 modulus 3. That's also going to give us 1, because 3 times 3 will give us 9, and there will be 1 left. So that's basically the basic operators you need to know. So we have the addition, we have the multiplication, we have the division, we have the floor division, we have the modulus, and then another one we also have is the exponential, raising a particular number to power. So let's say we want to have 2 raised to power of 2. So we'll have 2, then instead of just one multiplication sign, we're going to have 2 multiplication sign. So that's going to give us 4. Okay, 2 raised to power of 3, that's going to give us 8. Why? Okay, let's say 2 raised to power of 5, that should give us 32. Okay, so those are the operators we have. And now to move on to our code editor, so we learn how to run our file. So the first thing is, one thing you should note is you should have a particular button here which you can use to run your Python file. It's going to run your Python file in a terminal. Or another thing you can do is you can come here to view and then terminal. It's going to bring up a terminal, and now this terminal is basically your command prompt, and I can just same command I did here. So to go into Python, and just as a note, in case you want to exit, you can use your Ctrl Z to exit. Oh, let's try Ctrl C here. Okay, Ctrl Z. Yeah, that's going to exit. Okay, so and then I can come here and use Python, and then K. That's automatically going to bring me into the Python development environment. So I'm just going to use my Ctrl Z and then enter to get out of them. Now I can decide to, okay, let's say 2 plus 2, and then save it, and then click on this, which is going to open up a terminal, a Python terminal right here. But we're not going to say anything. Yeah, we shouldn't say anything because we aren't printing. Now the right way to print out something outside is you print. So if we should print, and then we put this here, make use of the print statement, and then let's try that again. Click on that. So that's going to execute 4. So I can do something like whatever it is I want. Okay, so let's save that, and then let's run that. The huge number which we, okay, though that was way slower than I expected. All right, so we have this here. Now finally, before I leave, there is one thing that is very crucial that I need to, okay, explain, which is the order of operation. Okay, so let's quickly check that out. Okay, so right here, the order of operation in Python is paired mass, which stands for bracket first, exponent, then division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So let's see how that works exactly. Okay, so let's say we have 2 plus 3 times 5. Now, what do you think is happening here? Okay, if we should want to solve from the left, okay, we should have 2 plus 3, which should be 5, then 5 times 5, which should give us 25. But no, because Python looks through the operation and look for, okay, which of these operator have the highest um have the highest priority. Now there aren't any brackets, okay, so fine, no bracket, then moves on to exponents. So okay, is there any exponent, then move on to division, no division, then multiplication. So you should know multiplication carries priority over addition. So that way, if what if I want to make sure that, okay, this part gets executed first, then I have to then invoke the operator or the operation that carries higher priority, and in this case we have something like brackets. So I can just come here and then put the 2 plus 3 inside of the bracket, and then times 5. So that is going to give us 25. So that's basically one thing you should note about, okay, Python operation. But apart from that, you're good to go. Now, before I go, one more thing. I promise this is the last. That's the last, because I think it will be very advantageous for us to cover it right now. So one thing is, I wasn't planning on covering variable this one, but then creating a variable is Python is actually very simple. So basically, variable, we just adjust containers. So let's create a variable. Let's say age equals to 20. So now if I should type age, it's automatically going to give me return the value here, which is 20. Okay, so one of the things we can do is, for example, let's say we want to add to age plus 5, and that should give us 25. But now our age variable is still 20. So let's say we want to create a new variable, and or maybe this same variable, I want to increment it by 5. So we can use combination of Python of the equal to and one of the previous operators. So let's say something like age, we can do something like age on a normal day equals to age plus 5, and if we should check that, we should type that out, is going to give us 25. So a simpler way to do this would be age plus equals 5. Now by the time we check the value of age should have increased by 5 to to 30. So we have that. We can also do that with combine other operators which we've covered earlier. So we can do age minus equals, let's say 10. That should be 30 minus 10, which should give us 20. By the time we check the value of our age, that's 20. Okay, we can say age, then divide equals, then let's say, okay, 2. So 20 divided by 2 should give us 10. So by the time we check the value of age, we should have 10.0. Remember, division gives us floats. Okay, so by now you get the idea. So that's basically, okay, the thing I think you should also note about that, but I've decided to keep this really, really simple. So thank you very much, and I'm going to see you in the next lesson.